hello. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Tosh Time. We are talking about finances. And what we're going to talk about today is how to make more money in your current job. Listen, trust me, I know, been there, done it. So trust me what I'm about to say. I know. A lot of times we get we find ourselves going down that tunnel where we look at our job and we might say, I'm not being paid enough. I'm not being appreciated enough. I probably want to quit this job, start another job somewhere else, and I'm going to climb the corporate ladder so much faster just by quitting this one job and starting over at a whole nother job. Okay? We're going to talk about that, but I just want to throw that out there. Today, we're going to get into how you can make more money in the current job that you have. You already have a source of income. Now it's time to juice it. Squeeze every speckle of juice out of your job that you can to put more money in your pocket. There's more than one way to skin a cat. So let's get into it. Okay, first thing we're going to talk about is becoming complacent or being complacent in your job equals no extra money. It's as simple as that. If you become complacent in your department, in your position, on your shift, okay, please understand that you are canceling yourself out of being seen, being acknowledged, therefore making additional money. They will tell you the key to moving up the corporate ladder is to not become complacent. Even if you like the job or the department that you're in, the position that you've taken on, you may like your coworkers in your department, you may like your manager in your department, okay? But if you have aspirations to climb that corporate ladder to make more money, then you cannot get stuck. You cannot get stuck. When you get stuck, the first thing to go is the pay increases. Because once you cap out, because we're just going to talk corporate, every department has a cap on what they are willing to pay an employee in any particular position in any particular department. Okay, so if you sit around and you stay in your position in your department for 4, 5, 6, 7 years because, hey, I like my coworkers, I like what it is that I do, I like my manager, so on and so forth. I like the shift that I'm on, whatever those reasonings are. You are essentially pulling yourself out of that predicament to be able to earn more income. Because once you cap out, that is it. That is the maximum that they're willing to pay you, regardless of how well you do your job. Once you hit that cap, that's it. So don't get stuck. Don't become complacent. It's okay to say, I like my department, I like my position, I like my coworkers. But now if that's the case, start mingling. Okay, well, maybe I don't want to be just an employee. Maybe I want to become a group leader, a team leader, a supervisor, a manager, a project leader, whatever titling that they have that is above the current title that you hold as an employee. Find that out. Speak with your manager. Hey, these are my aspirations. How can you help? Because managers will tell you that a lot of times their performance is also based on how they help their employees to climb that corporate ladder. As much as it may not seem like it, the business world, they do want to take people that are already positioned within the organization and allow them to move up. But how are they going to know that you want to move up if you're not saying anything, if you're not, making yourself noticeable, if you're not out there asking questions, inquiring what positions are open, what can I do to increase my skill levels to prepare for this next shift in a position that I'd like to take on. So once again, please keep in mind, becoming complacent, you will stunt your income growth It's as simple as that. Now, if you're happy with your income and the money that you make allows you to live the type of lifestyle that you are happy with, then by all means, keep doing what it is that you're doing. Okay? However, if you want to succeed in whatever your vision of succeeding is and you want to earn more money, if you think that earning more money is the answer to solve some of your problems, then do not become complacent. And if you are complacent or have been complacent, it is not too late. The time that's passed is the time that's passed. You can't get that back. But now you know, so move forward. Move differently. Get out of that stage of being complacent and go get it. Ask questions. Let your manager know what your intentions are, what you wish to accomplish, and what they can, and ask what can they do to help you to succeed. That's what you do. We're not doing that complacency no more. Step your game up. Step your income up. Let's go. All right, next, you're going to want to either move into a different department or move into a position that's going to warrant you more responsibilities. Because oftentimes with more responsibilities creates more pay. It may not be right away, but that's the gist of it, okay? So you may have to kind of start out where you take on a bit more responsibility. You may want to lead on a project. You may want to be involved in, think tank session, things of that nature to kind of get you out there and get you more exposed. Once again, you also may just have to shift over to a whole new department entirely. Oftentimes, switching from one department to another department in and of itself creates a pay increase. Let's keep in mind, what we're discussing today in this video, it's not necessarily switching your job altogether as far as leaving whichever or whatever organization you're currently working for. It's taking the resources that you already have access to, being your current job, and exploring all possible options for you to make more money. Okay. And then down the line, you want to switch organizations, you want to make a career change, whatever the case. Obviously, you make those moves as you see fit. But right now, we're just trying to brainstorm and come up with ways in which you can make more money for the job that you currently have or for working within the organization that you currently work in. So you may not see a pay increase right away, but the more responsibility that you take on, now you can transfer those responsibilities that you've taken on and incorporate that into your resume. Then you take your resume and you apply for those jobs in different departments, those jobs that come with a pay increase altogether anyway. Even if that means switching organizations, now you can put those additional responsibilities that you've taken on and put that into your resume. So keep that in mind. All right. So let's talk about something that's just as similar to taking on more responsibility without seeing an immediate increase in pay or even switching departments. And the terminology is that sometimes you have to move horizontally to move vertically. Okay. So sometimes you have to move in this direction before you can move in this direction. Okay. That's how corporate America works a lot of times. Everything is not just this smooth trajectory, like this. Sometimes it's this, little here, you get what I'm saying. So keep that in mind. Sometimes not seeing an immediate reward, even when it comes to finances or financially. And even though that's why we do what we do, that's why we get up and go to work every day, is to obtain money to cover whatever we need to live and enjoy life and things of that nature. Sometimes you have to kind of assess it as a whole and not just strictly look at it from the financial standpoint. So sometimes, yes, you have to network, and that may require a horizontal move before you can make that vertical move. But a lot of times with the horizontal move and then a vertical move, it comes a nice jump in pay. So I just wanted to touch on that. And if at any point you ever feel like you're not being compensated fairly, you're not truly being acknowledged for your work, then that might mean it's time to move. It may be time to switch positions. It may be time to switch departments. It may be time to switch organizations. It may even be time to switch careers. But only you can make that decision for yourself. But while you have access to the resources for whichever organization you work in, milk them. Milk them. You bring a lot to the table, your experience, your knowledge, your dedication, your loyalty, come getting up and going to that job every single day. Make it work for you. Make it work for you. So keep that in mind. Move horizontally sometimes to get that vertical uplift. All right. Okay. So now we're going to touch on something that I can for surely say applies to me. And that is, you may have to change your shifts, ladies and gentlemen. And I know I am a third shifter. I have worked third shift for a long time. Okay. I've heard it all. Oh, third shift isn't good for your body. It's not natural for you to be up all night and then sleep during the day. Trust me, I know. Okay. But for those of us that work third shift, please understand, we have our reasonings for why we work third shift, okay? It may be a difference in the workload that we're taking on. It may have been that's the only shift that was available and currently is available. Sometimes it's the shift diff that comes along, being the increase in pay for working that graveyard or third shift. And sometimes it's just for family purposes. It works out best for you to work third shift so that you can be more present for family activities, type of a thing. So I don't knock anybody that works first shift, second shift, third shift, or any shift in between, whether you work a split shift, your shift, fluctuates. I understand, I sympathize, okay? But what I am saying is, when you work, a lot of times, second shift and third shift, especially within big organizations, you're less likely to be noticed because the higher ups, the big wigs, they're there during normal business hours. They're there, 8 to 5, type of time frame. They don't want to be there at 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the evening, let alone 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. So if you're putting yourself out there, you're taking on more responsibility, but you're working second shift, you're on third shift, and you don't see that that's getting you anywhere, please try to assess that as quickly as possible. Give yourself a time frame. Say, I'm going to give myself 2 months, and then I need to see some action, or I'm going to have to reevaluate and maybe go in a different direction. But once again, you may have to come off of your second shift, your third shift, your weekend shift, whatever shift you're on, but you're not being noticed, you may have to come off that shift, especially if your goal is to, climb that corporate ladder to make more money. You know that you're doing this job, but you're so much more capable of doing this job way up here. Make those moves. Okay. You got to make those moves, but you have to get noticed to make those moves. If they don't see you, how can they acknowledge you? They can't acknowledge you. How can they keep you in mind for when a better position comes along? So keep that in mind. You may have to change your shift. You may have to become a little bit uncomfortable to create great comfort down the line. All right, let's talk about it. Overtime. Overtime? Overtime. Yes, overtime. That is like one of the most basic ways to obtain an increase in your pay is overtime. Okay. However, let's keep this in mind. If your job is offering overtime, get a game plan. Get a game plan because you don't know how long that overtime is going to last. So if you can push yourself to get in there and dig deep and get as much overtime as you can because you have a plan, you know what you're trying to accomplish, get that overtime. Get that overtime as though it's going out of style, as if you might go to clock in 2 weeks from now and that overtime is gone. Get it. Get it while the getting's good. I myself have been in that position where overtime was available. It was available for so long. It just became part of the job. Okay, overtime is there if you need it. Until one day it wasn't. Okay. And then once it wasn't there, now it's like, this job ain't paying enough. But it's because, sometimes we take temporary money that we don't think is temporary because it's been there and available for so long. We take that temporary money and now we create a long lasting lifestyle based on that money until that money is no longer there. And now we're stuck with this lifestyle that's a little bit difficult to maintain because now the extra money isn't there. Okay. But if the overtime is there, if your job is offering the overtime, go and get it. Get to the money. Grab it, soak it up, and put it to work. Okay? Put it to work. Let me tell you something. The saying is, it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep. Okay? We don't care that you made $50,000 this year. How much do you still have in the bank? How much do you still have under your mattress? I don't know, wherever you decide to keep your money. It's not how much you make, it is how much you can keep of that money that you've made. And then finding ways to make that money work for you. All right. All right. Now let's lastly touch on performance-based incentive and performance-based pay increases. Okay. So if you work for an organization and they base your pay raise on your performance, get to performing. Okay, this goes back to complacency. If you've become complacent in your job where getting a C grade is gets you by, okay, but remember that at the end of the year or the start of the year, rather the end of the year, they're going to assess your C grades and then they're going to give you C pay come the start of the year. Okay, so keep that in mind. Once again, these are very minor tweaks that you can make. Oftentimes in a job, guys, we know what we need to do. We become complacent and we just we don't give 100%. It's human nature. You don't give 100%. You stop giving 100% in relationships. When you're parenting, you just it's all I got to give today. And it is what it is. But when you are on a mission looking, to obtain your financial freedom, you have got to turn over every unturned stone, turn it over. If there's a way to make some extra money, get it. Get it. Okay. Same thing with performance-based incentives. Some organizations still pay you. Hey, if you meet these metrics, if you hit these numbers, we'll pay you extra, a little, a couple $100 extra a month, whatever that is. Get it. Get that extra money. Get it like it's going out of style. Get it like you don't know if it's going to be there to get next year. Get it. Okay. Remember, all I'm trying to get you guys to think on is not just I need to quit this job and find another job that's going to pay me more than the job that I currently have. You have a job now. That in and of itself is a blessing that you do have a job. Find ways to make it work. Even people who work at, let's just say fast food chains. You see the stories, guys. Come on now. We see the stories where, this 16-year-old, this 18-year-old started working at this fast food chain. Now we fast forward 5-7 years later and they have their own franchise. It's possible. When you have a game plan and you put that game plan into motion and you don't look back. You're looking forward. You are chucking ahead. You know what you're trying to accomplish. You will accomplish it. And there will be people along the way that will see what you're trying to accomplish. They will see how dedicated you are, and they will help you to get there. But no one's going to come knocking at your door with an opportunity. You got to go out there and make yourself available for those opportunities. So with that being said, y'all, let's get to it. Let's take your current blessing of your job and milk it. Find all the ways you can to make extra income. Incentive-based, performance-based, overtime, taking on more responsibilities, moving horizontally to move vertically, switching departments, all of it. It's not being complacent anymore. And watch, I'm telling you, you will see an increase in your pay. And when you see that increase in your pay, you're going to see the confidence kick in because now you're like, I did that. I put the plan in. I came up with a plan. I put the plan into motion. Now I'm reaping the benefits of it. And if I can do that, why can't I do this? And if I can do this, then I should be able to do all of this. And you're going to see that once those wheels get to rolling, you're going to pick up speed. So stick with it and go and find your financial freedom. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you on the next one.